Hey, what's up, family? This is Fly Tie MMA, also known as the Progressive Martial Artist on YouTube. I wanted to shoot this video because obviously the big story going on right now is the death of George Floyd, the police brutality going on, and the riots in Minneapolis. And I just wanted to say I approve, obviously, of the protest going on right now. Obviously, there's a lot of right wing tears about the rioting. They currently mourning a $70 billion company in Target, for example. But I'm all for it because the only way we can get this movement spread, and the only way we can get real actual response on police reform, we gotta stop playing nice. We gotta stop fucking shit up. I'm gonna be honest because the biggest the biggest flaw in our protest and our approach towards police violence and any social movement that we have is that we play by the rules of civility that white America lays out for us. And these rules are very convenient for their part because we must protest in a silent, obedient manner, the kind of manner in which the media can ignore, right? So the only way we can have real reform and the only way we can really change the system is if we make some fucking noise. We might have to shower some windows. I personally, I don't know, I don't think I could get involved in looting or whatever, but I don't think the focus should be on condemning those people. The focus should be on making as much noise as possible. So I'm all for the actions taken in Minneapolis. And my argument is, if you want to complain about looting, the real people that loot are the billionaires who made billions, hundreds of billions of dollars throughout the course of this pandemic. If you look at the income wealth inequality gap, and you look at how during the last economic depression, through the use of Barack Obama and his policies, black wealth was siphoned and then reallocated to Wall Street, and you see how their bank accounts increase. So every time there's a big economic collapse, black Americans feel the blunt of it. Like, just for example, COVID right now, we are the people who are most likely to die from COVID because we work in these jobs that the states are not even trying to make safe, and then you have the right wing who's trying to force us to go back to work with their "we must reopen" protests, and that's another reason why I personally believe, that's why I endorse how they are protesting now in Minnesota, because we got to make noise. Because there's a dynamic at play on how the media and the establishment covers left wing protests versus how they cover right wing protests. Look at the reopen the government, reopen the economy protests from the right wing. If you look at the media, even so-called Democrat-leaning media outlets like CNN and MSNBC, they constantly gave a lot of coverage towards these protests. They'll bring on someone who agreed with the protest so they can argue the point. They glamorize and they put a lot of spotlight on these right-wing protests. But then now look at how they treat left-wing protests. Left-wing protests are met with violence, tear gas. I just saw a video of a Somali elder who was shot in the head by a rubber bullet. These are how our protests are met. Look at Standing Rock. Look at Occupy Wall Street. There's constant examples of left-wing protests that are infiltrated by the CIA, which is confirmed, FBI. They infiltrate and they cause problems within these protests that happen within Occupy Wall Street. So we have a government that is openly hostile towards left-wing protests while they prop up right-wing protests. And I think this is a very important point, and that's why I want to shoot this, because my whole point of my channel, the whole point of my Twitter page, is I'm trying to give perspective from a black progressive. So now I'm gonna say some things right now that's gonna piss off a lot of black voters. I don't give a fuck because it's time for tough love. Black boomers who voted for Joe Biden sold out black America. Period. Because this is what pissed me off. Whenever there are these amazing protests, which, like I said, I endorse 100%. I love the fact that black Americans right now had enough. I love it. I love that I'm seeing great policy ideas being pushed out, like abolish the police and replace them with government agencies that have more accountabilities than they have right now. I see a lot of great ideas coming out right now on the black community. And now, as a black progressive, this is what frustrates me. What the fuck has you guys been throughout the course of this primary? We have Bernie Sanders, who had comprehensive criminal justice reform, real reform of retraining the police. He was going to stop the new Jim Crow, marijuana legalization, and he was going to expunge all past criminal records and create a new culture of policing. And on the other hand, you have Joe Biden, who still to this day, the only candidate, by the way, who still supports the new Jim Crow. He still supports marijuana legalization that has been proven to be implemented to destroy the black community. It's been proven that that marijuana enforcement targets the black community even way more than the white community, even though the white community is more engaged with marijuana use than the black community. It's a racist policy. People forget Black Lives Matter started under Obama. Didn't start under Trump. It started under Obama because you have the Democratic Party who enables this police culture. They enable authoritarianism that crushes black family and black lives. Joe Biden, for example, one of his top VP choices right now is Amy Klobuchar. The same Amy Klobuchar, there was just a story that came out yesterday, and as a prosecutor, she refused to go after the officer that killed George Floyd in a previous incident. Amy Klobuchar, who was demanded by the NAACP and Black Lives Matter to drop out. She didn't listen, because why would the Democratic Party listen to you guys? Joe Biden might pick Amy Klobuchar, even despite her disgusting criminal justice record. And he's going to do that because he know he don't have to work for your vote for dick, black people. Because you guys gave it away. You guys gave it away. See, I'm treated like I'm odd. I'm some sort of Uncle Tom, I heard people call me. Because I refuse to vote for Joe Biden. I refuse to bow down to the Democratic Party because they're the reason why we have the police state in the first place. You can blame Republicans too, but Democratic Party, they had constant bipartisan support in support of law enforcement. Joe Biden made his career on being tough on crime. 90s Democrats were defined on being tough on crime. So every boomer that decided to vote for Joe Biden, despite his fucking record on locking up black people and being proud of it, you fucking sold us out. I don't care how upset that makes you, because Joe Biden went on the fucking Breakfast Club and he was asked about the crime bill. A lot of people, they rightly focus on the "you ain't black" comments by Joe Biden. Makes sense to me. It was disgusting. But that quote from Joe Biden distracted from the horrific interview he gave. Because he was asked about the crime bill, and Joe Biden still refuses to apologize for it. He still props it up. So you got this guy who still believes in the crime bill and its tenets. You got a guy who still believes we should push the new Jim Crow. And this is the person that black people are rallying behind. Because they got Trump deranged syndrome. Trump, I'll have no love for Trump, but he passed criminal justice. I asked my followers. Trump is arguably to the left of Joe Biden on criminal justice. Oh, but I'm not supposed to care about those issues. I'm not supposed to care. I'm supposed to throw it out and vote for Joe Biden and the Democrats who have done nothing to implement police reform. Not a goddamn thing. You have fucking John Lewis, who's like, when I was beat up by police, I just nodded and thanked them for their service. This is the Democratic Party. This is the Black Congressional Caucus that sheep herds establishment-minded black people to the Democratic Party. They refuse to talk about the institutional racism that exists right now. What they do is they blame Republicans, while ignoring the fact that Kamala Harris herself was locking up black women for their kid being truant in schools. It was Kamala Harris that was a prosecutor going after the black community and locking us up. Amy Klobuchar. Obviously, Republicans have bad records on criminal justice, but when I look at the reason why I refuse to vote Republican when I first radicalized during the George Bush era, criminal justice was one big part of that. And now I learned, and one of the reasons why that turned me off the Democratic Party forever is when I realized that the Democratic parties are just like Republicans when it comes to criminal justice. So, thank you guys for standing up for police violence. Thank you guys for standing in solidarity with the Minneapolis riots, with the protests, with police violence. But where the fuck have you been? That's all I'm gonna say. Can we stop with the performance outrage for once, and can we focus on real policy and real tangible changes that will affect the black community? If you are still in line for Joe Biden, despite his fucking record on criminal justice, I have nothing else to say. What you're doing is performative outrage, and I don't want anything to do with it.